afternoon, wherever you are. Wherever you are. Oh, let me see. It didn't make my little thing go up. Hold on, hold on. Okay. What about this? Okay, I don't know. I'm still new, y'all. I don't need too much. What's this? Dang, I didn't look and see. Hey now. Tanya. Hey girl. Let me see. Okay, I'm still new in here. I don't know what I'm doing. So don't give me too much now. Okay. I had a little tag up here, but it ain't up here no more. Okay, let me see if I can figure it out. Hold on. We doing our Ask Coach Catasha today. So I hope you are ready with your sexual health questions. It's Wednesday. Y'all know what Wednesday mean. Dang, I just put a little tag up here. I did all the work and it's not up there. Because I want to let people know what they're getting into. I don't want you to just pop in and be confused. I want y'all to know. We don't want to just be talking about buttholes and everybody just be like, oh my gosh, what happened? Oh man. Hello. Welcome to Sex Ed with Coach Catasha. We are going to be talking about hey Starboy. Okay, we're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about sex education today. Okay, so let me just preface this with, it might get a little spicy today. It might get a little spicy. So I just need you to be ready for that. In case it do, you need to be ready for the spice. Okay, we're going to be talking about sexual health, relationships, sex, bodies, whatever we want to talk about, whatever y'all want to talk about is what we're going to be talking about. I've been gone for a little bit, so I don't have a lot of questions. I do have some questions, but I'm going to rely on y'all. So if you have your sexual health questions, please feel free to leave your questions in the chat. I will be happy to answer them. Any questions you have about, anything, menopause, pain during sex, whatever you have, lubrication issues, questions about sexuality, questions about gender, questions about Black sexuality. My specificity is Black people in sexuality. So most of the information that I have is going to pertain specifically to Black folk and sex. And so, the information that I give you is going to have Black people's information in it. It's going to be the statistics of Black folk, stuff like that. So this is a safe space to ask any questions that you have. I am not here to judge you. That is not my job. I do not care what you do with your butthole when you're not here. I just want to make sure that you are, using it correctly and that you're doing the stuff that you're supposed to do. And that's all that's important to me. I do not. The information, the answers that I give are going to be judgment free. They're also likely going to be an opportunity for me to encourage your foolishness. So also be prepared for that, because I do want to encourage safe sexual foolishness. Safe sexual foolishness. Okay, that's what we're looking for. I want you to be able to have a good, healthy sex life, but I want you to be able to do that safely. And so some of the behaviors that we as a community exhibit don't always fall into those lines. So it's important that we are creating an environment that allows the body to exist during sexuality and being safe. So there you go. Okay. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave your questions in the chat. If you are asking questions that have a sensitive nature, i.e., if you're asking about, cleaning out the back door or any of the other things, there may be moderators in whatever app you're watching this through. Right now we're live on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Okay, so those places all have different moderations built into the program. So there's some things that they will automatically stop you from saying, but I want you to be able to say it. So if you have questions and your question is a little racy, or that there's information that may get lost in translation, please feel free to ask your questions again. I will be happy to answer them as they come up. Now, if you ask a question and you don't see that I've answered your question, please feel free to stop me and let me know, or let me know that you've asked a question and it has not appeared in the chat, or it hasn't come up, or that you don't see me addressing your question, because I don't care what your question is. I want to answer it. That's my job, is to answer the questions. I'm here to answer your sexual health questions. That's what I'm trying to do. And so that's what I'm here to do. Okay? All right. So if you do have a question and your question is kind of racy, okay? If your question is a little racy, not race as in, but race is in spicy, you can ask that question with any type of I don't know who that is. Ask your question, leave out the context clues. Okay, you can whatever other, like, if you want to ask about pain in your penis, if you want to ask about pain in your penis, just try to use, I need you to put on your house hat, put on your Grey's Anatomy hat, and try to ask your sexual health questions in a way that does not get you blocked, okay? Because although I do get blocked quite frequently, the nature of my work does get me blocked on some apps quite frequently. I'm going to be back, okay? So whatever your sexual health questions is, even if they flag it, I will be back. You, on the other hand, you might not be back. So I want to make it so that we can both keep our accounts, okay? So that we both can keep our accounts. So ask your questions with your medical hat on, okay? Even if you're asking something that's not necessarily a medical question, phrase it in a way that you can keep your medical hat on and you can keep your account, and that they don't block you, because I don't want you to get blocked. Again, I'll be back. I can't say that for you. So just make sure you protect your account, that you're protecting yourself, and that everything's gonna work out good. Okay. So if you're a little bit shy and you don't want your business out in the streets, if you don't want everybody in your sexual business, completely understandable. But you can send those questions to me. Send them to expressionoverrepression@gmail.com, or you can send them to my inbox, and I will ask those questions, bring those questions back to the chat on behalf of you. So, people don't need to know what you're doing with your butthole, but if you have a question about your butthole, you can ask it in our inbox, and then I'll bring it back. And because your question is likely a lot of other people's questions as well. So if you're having questions about your butthole, I'm sure everybody else is having questions about their butthole too. So we'll just keep it open so that nobody has to know it's you. Let me put that in the chat. I need to go get my hey, I see some people are popping in. Hey. You have to be 18 or older to view this live. You must be 18 or older to participate and view this live. It should be blocked so that kids can't see it, but the kids still somehow get in. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But absolutely, the kids still make it in. So, but you have to be 18 or older to participate because we are talking about things of a sexual nature. Um, so I want to make sure that we are keeping our community safe. Don't let the kid. This is not appropriate for children. This is only for adults. This is an adult's perspective on sex education. If you need resources to help you with talking to children about sex education, I do have that. I am not that, but I have resources of other individuals who also happen to be Black who do teach sex ed for kids and teach a sexual education that is tailored to children. Mine's is not. I explicitly teach adults, and so my sex education is wrapped around knowledge, medical data, and pleasure. So, but again, if you need resources, please send me a message for talking to kids about sex, because everybody needs sex education. All the people, every single person needs sex education, because that little class you took in middle school is not going to be good enough to get you through the rest of your life, okay? And if we can make sex education a more formidable, a more thick and robust form of sex education, we may be able to protect a lot more people, a lot more children. I really do honestly believe that a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with, and I know not all of it is, but a lot of the stuff that we deal with as a society has to do with a lack of sexual knowledge, sexuality. Case in point, the fact that every time there's a Republican National Convention, they're shutting down Grindr. Okay, that is happening because people are not comfortable in their sexuality, and they are living one way in the front, and then on the back end they're wanting to explore the part of themselves that they don't feel that they have the power or pleasure to explore. And so if we were to address that, if people felt safe enough to explore their sex education, explore their sexuality in a way that was not harmful, and those specific types of events are harmful because those people are living a life that their partners back home don't know they're living, their children don't know they're living, and so you are, without the consent of a partner, you are bringing someone into a world that they didn't ask to be in because you are not comfortable being in the world yourself. So if we were to do that, we would have a lot less people that would be rallying against LGBTQ plus rights, things like that. So there is a lot of power in your sexuality, a lot of power in your sexual knowledge, but as a society, it's not something that we address because sex is taboo, right? And that is actually in a lot of societies, that you're seeing that sexuality and sex is taboo, and if we can work to change that, we can actually improve a lot of people's lives. And I know y'all don't believe me. I know you don't believe me, but I have been doing this for 11 years. I've been teaching sex education for the last 11 years, and I am able on a first-hand basis to see how sexual knowledge and how being in tune with your sexuality actually improves the lives of the people that I get to see, right? I'm not just talking about numbers. We're not talking about research. I'm talking about actual people and the improvement of their sex lives and the improvement of their sexuality, the improvement of who they are, and what kind of stuff they get into. So that is actually, it's a thing. So we do have some questions. Let me check in the chats. If you have any sexual health questions, hey, I see people I know. Hey, if you have any sexual health questions that you want to ask, you drop those questions in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them for you. This is a new time, so I'm not really expecting a lot of activity today, but we got to start somewhere, right? I'm usually on today at 2, but if you've followed me for any amount of time, this is my busy season. Hey, Ladybird. This is my busy season, and things change as the time goes on. So I have a lot to do during the fall, and so I don't really have as much time as I do during the summer and during the spring. So we had to change it up. We had to change it up. Stuff's happening. So we'll only be streaming on Wednesdays going forward for Ask Coach Catasha. We may add something else back in the future, But yeah, I want to be able to service the people who need it, and to do that, I have to make sure that we're working. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about our sexual health questions. I don't know if it'll let me put if I can add anything in the chat up here to put the questions. Again, I don't really know how to do all of this yet. So again, this is us just figuring it out. Ooh, what's this? Oh no, that's not where I'm supposed to be. Please put your sexual health questions in the chat. If you want to get answers, I will be happy to answer any of the questions that you have. Okay, and so don't be shy. There's not a lot of opportunities that you're going to be able to talk to a certified sexuality educator. And so having this opportunity is an opportunity that not a lot of people come across, right? Especially if you are Black and you are talking to someone who specializes in Black sexual health. With a focus around pleasure and, medical data and stuff like that. I want you to have all the fun. I want you to have an uneasy amount of sexual fun. And so to do that, we all need to make sure that we are being safe, and that we are asking the questions when we have the opportunity to do that. Okay. So question number 1 that I got, let me put this in the chat, and I won't be able to put it on TikTok. I'm sorry. My studio is still blocked. The question is it normal not to orgasm every time? Okay. That's the question that was sent to the chat. Is it normal not to orgasm every time? So let's talk about orgasms. Let's talk about what they are, how they work. I don't know if the name on the email was also ambiguous. So I don't know if this question is coming from a male or a female. So let's just discuss both. So the way that an orgasm works, okay, is an orgasm actually happens in your mind, okay, and your body has a reaction to the data that your brain is processing. So the reason why they say sometimes it's more difficult for some people to have orgasms is because they're distracted, or all these other things. That is absolutely true. You do have to be in tune to be able, some bodies do have to be in tune with their sexuality to be able to experience orgasm. But again, because it actually happens in your mind, your body reflex is a different set of systems. Okay. So genuinely what happens during an orgasm, you have what's called a sexual arousal response. Okay. That sexual arousal response is a graph that starts at desire and ends at resolution. In between that, you have desire, you have arousal, which is going to be the part that is tickers up. The desire is when you originally decide that you're ready for sexual activity. Okay. So when you say, hey, oh, that sparked my interest, or this thing that you're doing, or the smell that you're giving off, or something that you're doing has sparked my sexual interest. Once that happens, once you get the desire for sex, then you start the arousal process. Okay. And so arousal is is where you work up until you get to the plateau. Okay. And so your plateau is going to be the part right before you hit the orgasm. Okay. Right before you get to it. So when everything's in line, all the things are in motion, your blood is where it's supposed to be, your breath has quickened, your skin has become flushed, your temperature actually rises. All of these things happen during sexual arousal. Once you get to the plateau and it's nowhere else it can go, everything is in line, all the things are, working as they should, that's when you experience the orgasm. Okay. And so that is going to be the top of that plateau. And then once you experience the orgasm, then all of your systems return to resolution. Okay. So once you go through your orgasm, the temperature goes back, your breathing goes back to normal, your body temperature goes back to normal. All of those things go back to the normal, and that's going to be your resolution. So there are 4 steps, technically 5. There are 4 to 5 steps to the sexual arousal process. you can have a kink in any one of those processes. Okay, you can have a kink in your desire, you can have a kink in your arousal, you can have a kink in your orgasm, and you can have a kink in your resolution. Okay, or in your plateau as well. So your body goes through a system of changes once you become aroused, and those system of changes can be hijacked. They can be hijacked by other things. And so in that system, your orgasm is a lot of times is the point that everybody's trying to get to, right? You want to reach the orgasm, but you can't go from desire to orgasm. You actually have to follow the system. So sometimes the issue is that you're not following the system, and you're not giving your body what it needs to get to the plateau to get you to the orgasm. And that could be foreplay, it could be other types of sensory stimuli, it could be a bunch of different things that could be blocking that arousal process. Some people don't even have the desire. And so that's when you talk about people who have low libidos and people who don't experience sexual desire in the same way that they used to or the way that they want to. Okay, it's not even necessarily what you used to. Sometimes if you don't experience desire in the way that you want to, it could also cause problems and kinks in your life. So with that said, any of those places can have kinks in them. And even for male and female bodies, I know that it's normal for people to think that, the men just pop in and they are having orgasms, they have desire. That is not always the case. Men can lose access to their libidos. They can lose access to their orgasm. They can be anorgasmic. Sometimes the resolution can be an issue if you take, like, for example, if you ever take a blue pill, and you know what I'm talking about. If you ever take a blue pill, it can be difficult for it to go down once you are done. Once you have completed the act, can be difficult for that to return, for the penis to return to its regular state. Okay, so you can experience kinks in each one of those processes. Is it normal not to orgasm every time? I would say yes and no. Okay, so the goal is always going to be orgasm. That's what we want. We want to get to the orgasm, because that's the reason that we're putting in the work that we're putting in. But it's not the most important part. It's just a part of the process. If you don't experience desire, you're not going to get to orgasm. If you're experiencing issues in your arousal, that's also not going to get you to orgasm. If you are concerned about the resolution, if your body does not return to its state in a normal way, that could cause you anxiety, which could also affect your orgasm. So there's a whole circle of things that can manipulate the orgasm taking place. And it's because we don't have the conversations, and orgasms are not discussed on a regular basis. People don't necessarily know that. So it's not normal, but it can happen. There are times, and there are some people who go through their whole lives not knowing if they've ever had an orgasm, if they've ever experienced an orgasm. And we can get into that a little bit later. But orgasms are not as common as you would think, because they have not always been centered in all bodies. Okay, so of course the first person who is very well versed in the orgasm is going to be the heterosexual male. The heterosexual male is top of the list on sexual satisfaction and always reaching orgasm. After that, it's going to be bisexual men. Okay, so straight men, bisexual women, or lesbian women, then bisexual women, and then heterosexual women. So that orgasm chart has not always prioritized everybody's pleasure. Okay, it has not always centered everyone's pleasure. So some people do believe that an orgasm is not something that's going to happen, but it should be. It should be the goal. And so even if you have a male body, if you have a penis, okay, even if you are rocking a phallus, you are not always going to orgasm. If you've ever been around men or talked to men, they will absolutely tell you that sometimes they faked an orgasm. And they don't have to do it as often as people who embody female bodies, but they do still sometimes fake orgasms. If it's going on too long, or if they're not really interested, or their arousal process has not completed and they're just tired of being there, they'll fake it. They will absolutely fake it. So, and the fact that, again, the orgasm is what happens in the mind, the ejaculation is what happens in the body, and those are two different processes. So normal, yes. The goal, no, not the goal. Unless that's what you're going for. And there are some instances where people have learned how to separate the orgasm from the ejaculation, and because they can do that, they are still experiencing orgasms, but not having to go through the ejaculation process and the resolution process, right? Because it's happening in the mind. So they're able to keep their erection and to keep going until they decide that they are ready to ejaculate. But they still have the orgasm in their mind. It's called ejaculation. It's a practice that is studied in Western culture, but it's not necessarily something that all people know they could do. But there are some instances where people are separating the orgasm from the ejaculation and are able to orgasm without actually having to finish the rest of the sexual arousal process. They can just stay up here without having to get down here. Because in a normal process, you desire, arousal, plateau, orgasm, and then resolution until you want to start again, and you have to start at the beginning of the process. Well, these people have found a way to skip those last steps, skip the orgasm, skip the resolution, and can just stay here. Well, not necessarily skip the orgasm. They do have the orgasm. The orgasm just happens up here. It doesn't happen in the body. The ejaculate doesn't happen in the body. So you are allowed to continue to go without actually having to start over, having to get the penis back where it's supposed to be and do all that stuff, right? So yes, it is not normal to not experience orgasm every time. You want to, that is the goal, to get to orgasm. But if you don't, it's okay. You know, there are instances where you could be experiencing orgasm and nothing comes out, or you could be experiencing smaller orgasms depending on where the orgasm is happening in the body. And so recently, not recently, actually a couple years ago, they have found that the idea of what a clitoris looks like is actually larger than they originally expected or suspected, right? And so you're looking at a model of every part of the clitoris. This is every part of it. And with this model, there are places. So this is going to be where your where the hole to the vagina is, right? So with that, it means that most of the types of orgasms that you have are going to be clitoral orgasms. They're just going to be different parts of the clitoris, because this is the whole clitoris and not just this part up here that you can see. This part is inside of the body. These are going to be next to your under your labia majora, and it is made of erectile tissue, and these erectile tissues work in tangent with the body to help get to that orgasm. They swell up the same way erectile tissue in the penis does. It swells up and it moves in tangent with the clitoris to help you get to that next step. And because of that, there's a high probability that the orgasms that you have can generate from different parts of this clitoris, but still all from the clitoris, okay? There are plenty of nerve endings inside of the vagina. There are deep erogenous zones where a bunch of places where nerves and things meet. And so with that, you have an opportunity to have different types of orgasms, and not necessarily the big one that you would receive from just stimulating the clitoris. This is going to be where the bulk of the nerves in the clitoris hang out, but it is not where all of the nerves are. And so even by stimulating some of these other areas, you are able to see, you are able to reach orgasm by stimulating deep in some of these areas. These are your vulva vestibules. So these are just like the tissue inside of a penis. The corpus cavernosum inside of the penis is the erectile tissue that swells up with blood. This is the same thing that is in the erectile tissue of the vestibular bulbs, and that's what these are. And these sit right behind your labia majora, your big lips, behind your big lips, and they swell with blood, as you get aroused. And so the same thing happens to the clitoris that happens to the penis. It just happens inside of the body. So any of these places can be stimulated, but they won't cause as powerful. I don't know if that's the word I want to use. They will cause a different type of orgasm than the orgasm that you are used to, right? So sometimes there are many times that you actually have had an orgasm. You just don't know that's what happened because it doesn't feel the same way. Oh, thank you, Miss CJ. I got some little hearts. They made me happy. But you don't feel the same type of orgasms that you feel here. And one of the ways that you can differentiate is if you've ever had, how can I say this without getting us blocked? If you've ever had a female ejaculative orgasm, okay? So that means liquid has come from the vagina. From the vulva, okay? If you've ever had that type of orgasm, which is a word that starts with S, you know that there are different types of orgasms that you can experience that don't necessarily come from stimulation of the clitoris, this part right here, but can be a different type of release, okay? So those orgasms are just as important. Those smaller touching into these, people are able to have cervical orgasms. People are able to have anal orgasms, and anal orgasms work the same way because there's only a small sheath of space in between your vaginal canal and your anal canal. When you go into that area, you're actually stimulating other parts of this clitoris as well. So that's why people are able to have orgasms from an area that is not the vagina. Okay, I think we did good on that one. I think we did. I think we probably still gonna be blocked, but that's okay. It's okay. We are probably still gonna be blocked, but that's all right. I feel like we handle that well. But yes, there are different types of orgasms that you have. So you may be thinking that you're not having an orgasm every time, but in actuality, you are just not having a clitoral orgasm, which is the one that many people are used to. Now, on the flip side of that, you may still need clitoral stimulation of the tip to reach the other types of orgasms as well, right? And so 80% of women still need clitoral stimulation of the tip because this is where the bulk of your nerves are going to be. You're still going to need stimulation of that tip to help you reach orgasm in most cases. Not everybody, but most people will still need that extra oomph to get you over, okay? And don't let anybody trick you and tell you that that's not necessary and that you're doing it wrong. This is literally the science of it. This is where the bulk of the nerves are. Yes, there are bulb nerves here. It's just like a penis, and I can't show you on TikTok, but I can show on my Twitch and YouTube. Let me show you. Here we go. That shows the way the tissue is set up. And so a lot of the same tissue that's in a penis is also in the clitoris, okay? So this is going to be the bulb, your glands. That's going to be the glands of a penis as well. These, your vestibular bulbs, are the same as your the bulb, the root of a penis. So these are actually not separated in a penis. They're together and it runs up the middle. Okay. So, but it's the same tissue. These are this clitoris has the same tissue and the same functions of sexually as a clitoris. Okay, you are a lot alike. You can see here, and even just the crus, which is the corpus cavernosum, is made of corpus cavernosum tissue. It's going to be the lining of the penis as well. And so both of those are a lot alike, and they're you're looking at the same setup to do the same things. So many of the orgasms that you will have may not come directly from stimulating the tip of the clitoris. It could be from other parts as well. Okay, all right. If you have questions, please feel free to leave your questions in the chat. Thank you, honey. I appreciate you. I hope that I'm giving you some information that you can use. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If you're shy and you don't want people in your business, completely understand that. You can message me any of your questions, and I will answer those questions without bringing your name into it. I can bring your questions to the chat on your behalf, and that way people don't have to be in your business. I am totally okay with that. If you are shy, that's fine. I want you to get your question answered. I don't care what the circumstances of that is. How to have a low T intervention. Okay, so let me ask some questions. A low T intervention. So I'm assuming that your partner is experiencing low testosterone, or is that why you need to do an intervention on it? Okay, so that's absolutely normal. All bodies have access or need access to the hormones that dominate their bodies, okay? Having low testosterone is not just a sexual issue. It also has effects on a lot of your other functions, right? And so the thing about testosterone is it's a lot easier to make than estrogen, okay? So low testosterone can be increased by working out. That actually makes the body produce more testosterone, but the main thing is that it can make a lot of other systems that you may be experiencing faulty as well. Okay, low testosterone means you're going to be more irritable. It also means that the body could become progesterone dominant, which is, we all have estrogen, progesterone, testosterone in our bodies. How much you have is dictated by the sex that you are, okay? By the chromosomes that you carry, okay? Not the sex that you are, the chromosomes that you carry. And so if you are low on your dominant, access to your dominant hormone, you may have a overabundance of the other types of, absolutely, a partner workout session will absolutely work, and it will build the sexual tension between you two as well. So you also are going to be, if you do work out together, if you do tasks and things together, you are also going to experience the oxytocin. You will get endorphins from that, and it will bring you and your partner together. But it can also boost arousal if you do it together. So, but working out alone may not be enough. Okay, that is something that you can do, but it may not be enough. If you are testosterone dominant and you are losing access to your testosterone, it can make those other hormones more dominant. And so you will, you might start experiencing gynecomastia, which is the breast tissue swelling. You could also start to experience irritability. You could start to experience deep mood swings, low libido. All of those types of things can happen when the testosterone dominant body does not have access to it. And so sometimes it is a medical necessity to do an intervention. That's not always the case, because as you get older, you just automatically lose access to testosterone. And that could have an effect on your sexual health. It could have an effect on how you see yourself. It could also actually have an effect on your mental health, because testosterone is a key part of your mental health as well. And so I know that libido might be the issue that would make them want to uh, seek testosterone replacement, but bringing up some of the other things that could be happening, or the other ways that low testosterone could be affecting you. I mean, it can make your testicles shrink. It could make it more difficult to keep and maintain an erection. All of those types of things, right? And so it's not just the sexual part of it, because if you start having issues with your sexual organs, it also has effects on your brain. So you will start to experience anxiety, performance anxiety. You will remove yourself from sexual activity if you don't think that you will be able to get an erection. If it can make you more irritable, it can make you more argumentative. That's what progesterone does. It just is the part of it, but it's all supposed to be in balance. And so if it is out of balance, then you will notice there are other side effects to it as well. So a workout session is a good way, because again, estrogen cannot be replaced in that manner. Working out does not, working out in your body will also make more testosterone, but it doesn't make more estrogen, right? The bulk of the estrogen in the body is going to come from your ovaries and from your, what your body's naturally doing. And so a low T intervention is just looking for some ways to help it, to bring it up a little, a little at a time, right? And if they can make it a normal thing, like working out becomes a normal part of your day, you have a better opportunity of having access to the testosterone you need. Not just, working out 1 or 2 times a week, but making it a normal part of your daily routine will help that testosterone bring itself back up, and that will help you be more interested in sex, be able to naturally raise your libido. Because even if you're a woman, if you do have low libido, they will offer you testosterone. That's one of the things they're going to offer you. They're going to say, oh yeah, you just need a little bit of this. Let me just go ahead and give you a little bit of this. And so yeah, you will also receive testosterone if you are living in a XX body and your libido is not where you would like or where you want it to be. So a good workout session will help, but making a pattern of it, making a regular activity of lifting weights and, throwing some weight around, building your muscle, because again, there's all these things that work in tangent. Building the muscle, creating nitrous oxide in the body, which strengthens the erection. All of these things, your body is like this big chemical pool. And so all the things that you just think that happen magically don't happen magically at all. That is not how they happen at all. There is a list of systems that go off, and you can get a kink in any one of those systems that would cause your sexual health to decline. And so keeping your sexual health at a steady pace, even as you get older, because the way that you have sex as a young adult is not the way that you're going to have sex as an older adult. And so many people don't let their sex lives morph with their lives, right? Once you can't do it like you did when you were 23, you just quit having sex. And that top 5 worst things you could ever do, okay? Please don't do that. If you are talking yourself out of sexual activity, please stop right now, okay? I want you to cut it out, because sex is a free way for your body to get access to the endorphins that bring us together. Sex brings us together. That is the nature of what it's supposed to do. And so, now I'm not telling you to go out and have sex with everybody. I'm not saying that you can't have sex with everybody. If that's what you want to do, as long as you being safe, I don't care. Send me a picture. Send me a picture. Let me see. But no, if you want to have a healthy sexual life, you are going to have to let that sexuality morph with you. Older people are having so much sex now. Please believe they are in them nursing homes cutting the fuck up. Okay? They are in there cutting up. And I'm in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, in the last 10 years, syphilis and chlamydia, I think syphilis has gone up like 600% in 60 and older. Like, we are talking about hundreds of percent of sexually transmitted diseases in populations of 60 and older. But in their defense, they never received any kind of sex education. There was nobody coming into their 6th grade class telling them how to safely have sex. Yeah, it's bad. And if you look up the numbers in your state, that is not just Oklahoma, that's every state. If you have a grandma in that nursing home, she is in there rubbing on some old man's weenie, trying to get him ready. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if I got to do it, I got to do it. They are absolutely, and again, older people didn't receive any form of sex education. They didn't. There were no conversations about how to take care of your body, I don't think the whole time my mama was alive, I don't know if she ever even seen a condom. I don't know. I don't know if your grandma know what a dental dam is. Okay, she has never heard of it. Never in her life. And so they don't know that they're harming themselves. They don't know that they are participating in activity that's going to get them sexually transmitted infections. They just are like, it's a party. It's a party. And I'm telling you, them nursing homes, they in there cutting up. They in there cutting up, turning upside down in the nursing home. So it is a lot of, but that makes me happy in a way, not the sexually transmitted infections part, but the fact that they have found a way, even in their older age, to engage in sexual activity, because it's still good for you. Sexual activity still keeps you young. It gets you access to your dopamine, your endorphins, your serotonins. All of those things are an important part of your health and happiness. And when you don't have access to them, you become depressed, you become irritable, you become anxious. It literally can diminish your quality of life. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what the studies say. If you do not have a healthy sexual existence, you are likely experiencing a lower quality of life. A lower quality of life because you're not having sex. Okay? So it's more important than we think it is, and because it's so ignored, we don't know the power of a healthy sexual existence. And so if you can use that throughout your life, like you can realistically, you can have sex well into your 90s. And probably longer than that. But realistically, if you let your sex life morph with your body, you can have sex until you die if you want to. You can have sex forever. But you just have to change the way that you have sex, right? You can't do any of that risky stuff. Can't be hanging off the ceiling and, bending your leg back too far and crushing your windpipe and knocking over your oxygen machine. But you can still have sex. You just got to have sex a little more safely, okay? And so, but there are a lot of people that when they start experiencing sexual issues, because as you get older, it doesn't work the same. You don't make your own lubrication the way you were making before. You don't, your penis doesn't always get as hard as it was before. Your penis may not even get hard at all. It's sometimes just depending. You can't put them over the edge of the bed and give back shots like you want to. And so it's a lot of changes, but that doesn't mean that you can no longer enjoy sex. It just means that you have to do it more safely. You have to be more aware of your body, more aware of the type of sex that you want to have. That's also one of the great things about being older and having sex, is that by that time, you know just what you want. You know just how to do it. You know exactly how to get you there. And you don't have a problem telling your partner how to do that. This is what I need you to do. This is do this, do this, do this. If you do these 6 things, I'm going to get there. And you can relay that, and the other person is going to listen, because you become more in tune to your partner, especially if your abilities diminish. You can focus, you can reignite your sexual activity by focusing more on the abilities of your partner. And so you care about your partner getting to orgasm. You care about the way that they experience sexual experiences. You care more. And so if you do that, you can be 90, still getting it in, still getting erections, still using your vagina, still doing whatever you need to do, if you just make the necessary changes. And one of the biggest changes that I see people struggling with when you're talking about sexual health is the use of lubrication, especially in women. You know, we pride ourselves on being Miss Wet Wet and Miss Water Park and blah, blah, blah. And then when we don't have access to that same amount of lubrication, it becomes painful, and then we just no longer want to initiate sex. We no longer want to engage in sexual activity, and that can be harmful. That is harmful to you. It's harmful to your body because if you don't use it, you will absolutely lose it. Okay? If you do not use it, you will lose it. So make sure that you are using it, and use it for as long as you can. Just pivot how you use it. Oh, there's a moth in here. Pivot how you use it so that you don't lose it. Because again, sex is a free way for you to receive the dopamine, the serotonin, the endorphins, the oxytocin. All of those things are great for your body. They're great for your physical health, and they're great for your mental health. So it's important that you are keeping your body and keeping your mental and sexual health at an even keel, so that you don't lose it. Because I don't want you to lose it. I want you to have it forever. I'm gonna put the little clitoris right here so we don't leave them out. Okay, I like the can I put it right there? Yeah, I'm just gonna set that right there. If you have any other sexual health questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm here as a certified sexuality educator. I'm here to answer whatever sexual health questions you have. I specialize in Black sexual health, but I've been doing this for 11 years at this point. I've been teaching sex ed for 11 years, talking about buttholes, talking about penises, talking about vaginas and boobies and all that stuff for years and years and years. So there's not a lot of opportunities that you're going to have to encounter a sexual health educator. And this, I'm telling you information that not even doctors are going to tell you, because studies show that only about 30% of doctors are comfortable talking to their patients about sex, right? So if you don't bring up sex to your doctor, they're never going to bring it up with you. You know, they're never going to talk to you about it. I'm not going to say never, but the likelihood that your doctor is going to ask you about your sexual health is going to be low. Even if you go in and say, oh, I'm having, mental health issues. I'm anxious. I'm depressed. I'm this, I'm that. They're never going to ask you, how's your sex life? What's your sex life look out? Yeah. And that's even that she said, that's crazy work. That's even if you have a surgery that is specifically going to affect your sexual health. I had to do a hysterectomy and sexual function class. I did that because so many women who were getting hysterectomies were coming to me because they weren't getting the information about how this was going to affect their sex. And doctors are just going in and scooping everything out. They scoop the whole thing out. And that will wreck, and I mean wreck, your sexual health. It's not just, you're going to have incontinence or you're going to be peeing. It's going to decrease the amount of space that you have in your vagina. Okay, so it's going to shorten your vagina. It's going to remove your cervix. Your cervix has a nerve in it that is directly connected to your clitoris. So it's going to decrease the orgasmic capability if your cervix is removed. Okay? Decrease your orgasmic capabilities. You are going to lose access to your, depending on what type of hysterectomy you have, you can lose access to your ovaries, which is what includes the progesterone and the estrogen, which is what brings the moisture, or it signals the body to create lubrication down there. So you're going to lose access to your lubrication. It's so many effects of hysterectomy that doctors are just not bringing up. They just don't bring it up. Again, because we live in a society that doesn't value sex, it doesn't, and I get why that happened. The system, the patriarchy, whatever you want to call it, has told you that, sex is something that's just supposed to be for married people, right? But as somebody who teaches sex ed, not even married people have a space for them to discuss sexuality and sex, right? Even when I am a married woman and I still get side eyes about what I do and because I talk about sex. But I wasn't always married. I wasn't married before I started doing this, and I was still talking about it as a single woman because it is important. Sex is important. It is an important part of your life. Now, if you are asexual, please don't feel like this is leaving you out. I completely understand. And just someone being asexual just means that they don't build the same pathways of desire that we do, right? So they don't automatically take a stimuli and say, ooh, this makes me want to have sex. That's the only difference between them and you, is that I can smell somebody or see somebody, or you can know someone or hear someone, and that stimuli turns you on. It creates the desire for sexual activity. Whereas a person who's asexual could see somebody walking, see some titties walk across the screen and be like, "Ooh, that's a nice hat you got on. Your skin is popping today." It doesn't necessarily elicit the desire for sexual interaction. So that's the only difference, is that, we are led by our desire and asexual people are not. But in defense of that, only about 1% of the population is asexual. Okay, so that leaves 99% of people that you could probably entice with some sort of stimuli. Okay, you just got to figure out what the specific stimulus for your specific partner is. Okay, so if you have questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat. I am here for you as your certified holistic sexuality educator. I got the papers to prove it. Boom and boom. You can't see them, but I do this. Well, this is just my BA, but that's my certificate to say I can do this. Okay, but I've been at this for 11 years at this point. I specifically focus on Black sexuality, and so a lot of the details and a lot of the stuff that I talk about is going to be based on the Black body. Okay, so if you have questions, please feel free to drop them. I am not here to judge you. I don't care about, what kind of questions you have, what you want to do. If you don't want your question to be seen, you do not want it linked to your username, you can leave that question in the chat, or drop it in my inbox and I will answer it for you. I will bring it back. If I don't get to it this live, I will bring it back next Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time talking about sex. Okay? Every Wednesday, Central Standard Time, we'll be here talking about sex. All right? All right? Okay, so we got a little question. This was from, this is another piece to a question that was asked before, but the user question is, can you get an STI from oral sex? This was a question that was sent to the inbox. Can you get an STI from oral sex? They said they had watched the class that I did on something else, and that was they had asked a question about something else, and then this question spawned. So yes, you can absolutely get a sexually transmitted infection from oral sex. Not only can you get a sexually transmitted infection, you could actually end up with throat cancer from participating in oral sex without the proper protections. Okay. And so, because of that, this is called a dental dam, okay? When you're talking about vulvas, many times when people are talking about oral sex, they're usually talking about condoms. And not only people with condoms participate in oral sex, okay? There are people with vulvas who also participate in oral sex. And you can still get cancer and other STIs in your throat. You can get chlamydia in your throat. You can get HPV in the throat. You can absolutely get an STI from oral sex. But they make these things called dental dams, okay? This is from Trust Dam. This is a company that makes flavored dental dams. This is supposed to be grape. It don't smell like grape, but it's purple, so that's usually all we need, right? for it to be grapes, it just got to be purple. So we got purple here. But this is a dental dam, and this is a very thin sheet of plastic that you can put over a vulva. If you can see, that's my ring right there. It's a very thin piece of plastic that you can put over a vulva to stop the fluid exchange that would cause you to receive a sexually transmitted infection. Okay, so this goes onto the body, it melts and warms to the body, and you can still do everything you need to do except, go inside, but you can still do everything that you need to do with this dental dam by placing it over the vulva. Now, this is also to be used for the anal play. That's probably gonna get me in trouble. It can also be used, so you can put this on the crease of a butt and still do your business without sharing fluids, because that's the goal, is that's what creates STIs. Well, not all STIs, but most STIs, the ones that you would get in your throat, is going to be the sharing of fluids. And so you can put this dental dam over the butt and the vulva for any type of anal or oral play. Ooh, I feel like we're going to get in trouble for that one. I feel like we're going to get in trouble. I think it was the anal. It's probably going to be the anal. Anyway, as you can see, it's very thin. That's my ring through there. So it's not like it's a thick piece of plastic. It's supposed to be flavored. They have different flavors, grape, strawberry, that you can use. Now, the only thing about this is that you cannot always get these on hand. I don't know why. When I get some money, I'm going to figure out how to make that happen. But dental dams should be more available for spontaneous sexual activity, but they are not. Okay, so okay, hold on. It's telling me it's gonna end. Is that because I'm in trouble? Okay, hold on. Is it good? Is it big? No, I think it's just because of the time. Okay, no. Okay, we good. I was like, it was the anal, wasn't it? It was the anal. It was the anal. Okay, no, it's not. I think it was just because it's an hour. Okay, so. And we'll be leaving soon, so I'm not gonna keep y'all all night. But this, you can see it's flavored, but they don't have them, so you have to order them and have them on hand, which is, I don't think is fair. I don't think that's fair. But if you go onto my TikTok, there is a video on how you can turn a regular condom into a dental dam in a pinch, okay? Because no matter what, it's not worth throat cancer, okay? Eating that little box is not going to be worth throat cancer. So please make sure that you are taking the necessary precautions that you need to ensure that you are not going to leave with something you didn't come with, okay? And this is the same thing, like I said, if you don't have a vulva and you do still participate in fluid swapping, you can still do this with backdoor activity, anal activity as well. Okay, so Backtivity's hilarious. I'm never gonna give that up. I'm probably gonna say that. I'm absolutely adding that to the thing. But yes, these things are not available in like Walgreens like that. And so if I ever get some money, I'm gonna make dental dams more available for you to be able to have access to. But if not, there's a video on my TikTok that shows you how to turn a condom into a dental dam. I posted that video on LinkedIn and a white lady was like, I can't focus because of the dirty nails. Now, mind you, I had glitter in my acrylic on my nails. Like I had the glitter under the thing. That really pissed me off. I told her to get out of black people's business. Cause like, what do you mean? Why would I be on here with my nails dirty? Like, please be so fucking for real. And it was an old lady too. Like, girl, mind your sexless business. Okay, you're talking about my nails dirty. Bitch, I'll tear all this up. I don't know why that really triggered me. Like, girl, mind your damn business. Like, but anyway, if you see the video, my nails are not dirty. I am cutting open a condom and making a dental dam with glitter in my acrylic of my nail. She pissed me off, girl. So, anyway, we will be back here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. to talk about to do Sex Ed with Coach Catasha, where we do Ask Coach Catasha. You can ask me whatever questions you want. If you don't follow me, and you need to remember, you can. Girl, she really pissed me off. Like she really pissed me off. Like, girl, mind your white business. This is not your business. Don't make me upset. But if you want to come back and you want to ask me questions, you can come back and drop your questions in the chat. Whatever questions you have, I am here for you. Again, I've been teaching sex ed for the last 11 years. I have books out there. You can Google me. I'm a real person, I promise. When you Google me, that's really me. Like, all of the... And I'm on the whole page. Talk to me nice. Like, I'm on the whole page, okay? I'm actually kind of in page 2, okay? And I remember when I started, like... when I first started this, it was just my tweets and stuff on there, because I've been reckless. Yeah, I'm so glad you caught it too. Like, I had to, we changed the time, so it's going to be at 7 p.m. now instead of the middle of the day. I was doing that to get rid of the kids. But also just, like, I felt like that was a good time for people to, like, catch it while they're at work and stuff. But we're going to try this out, and we're going to see how it works. I want to be able to help y'all. That's the whole reason this exists. I don't make any money or anything off of this, and I've been doing it for a while. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to help you, and to help you have a better sexual existence, to help you have a better life. I want you to be happy. I want you to enjoy your sexual encounters. I want you to have access to sexual resources. And I know that the system that we live in doesn't allow that, right? It doesn't make space for you to be a full, whole sexual being. And so I want to make that space for you. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to make your sex great again. That's my job. I'm here to make sex great again. Okay, I don't know when it was great the first time, but we gonna make it great now. We gonna make the sex great now. So that's my goal. We'll be back here on Wednesdays again. Next Wednesday, 7 p.m. for Ask Coach Catasha. If you want to ask your sexual health questions and you're shy and you don't want your name attached to it, you can send those sexual health questions to expressionoverrepression@gmail.com, or you can find me on any of the social medias. You can search Coach Catasha. I'm everywhere. Any of the social medias, and drop it in my inbox, and I'll bring it back to the chat next Wednesday, and we can talk about it together. Because a lot of the times the questions that you have is the questions that everybody has, and I want to create a space where you feel safe to ask the questions that you need to ask, and to get an answer that feels good to you, right? Not just an answer that's steeped in religious trauma or anything like that. I am here to give you a medical diagnosis, not a diagnosis, because I'm not a doctor, a medical example of what your life could look like if you follow these steps and let the body do what it's supposed to do. And break down exactly how sex works, what it does with the body, how your libido works, how your orgasms work, how different things that you can have, how BDSM and kink works, and how all these other things play a part in your sexual growth and your sexual health, and giving you honest answers about how to incorporate these things safely into your sex life. Because again, if you put in the time and the work, you could have sex forever. You can enjoy a healthy, robust sex life well into your 90s. I don't know if you can do it in your 100 yet, because I don't know anybody who's 100. But I know that, like, as long as it works, as long as you're keeping a pace that feels good to you, and you're not shutting sexual experiences out of your life. Even if I went to a conference, and there was a panel with people who were quadriplegics, and they were talking about sex. And talking about their access to sex and their access to sexual health, even though they were in wheelchairs, and, sometimes they were talking with the eye things and all that stuff, but they still desired sexual experiences. They still desired sex. And so if someone who cannot access their arms and legs still desires sexual activity and is still enjoying sexual activity in different ways, then you can too. There's nothing stopping you from being able to have a healthy sexual existence except you. You are the reason that you're not enjoying sex. And so if I can open that up, if I can help you enjoy your sexual life, if I can help you enjoy your sexual experiences and to be comfortable in your sexual health, that's what I'm here for. That's what I want to do. So that's what we do on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, we come in, we talk about butts and stuff. Butts and orgasms and all that good stuff. So if you want to join us, we'll be back here next Wednesday. I will be happy to answer whatever questions you have. No judgment, no shame. I'm not here to do that. I'm actually here to encourage you to do more. Actually, I want you to do a little more. I feel like y'all not doing enough. And that's why everything is so scrumped up right now. So do more. Have more sex. Have more fun sex. Thank you. Thank you so much. The Mrs. CJ, I appreciate you for participating, for asking questions, for being a part of this. I hope that I was able to help you. And I hope to see you another time. I hope to see all of you another time. Tell your friends if, I want them to have great sex too. So tell whoever you need to tell that, this is where they can come to get it. I'll be here Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay? I'm gonna go eat dinner and harass my husband. So I will see y'all another time. Peace.